Have you ever looked at a rental property and just thought, man, I want the income, but I do not want the insanity that comes with it? Well, today we're diving into a company called Pineapple Pads that makes a really bold claim. They say they've completely solved the biggest problems of being a homeowner.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if you could get that sweet, steady cash flow from a property you own, but you never get a late-night call about a busted pipe? You never have to chase down rent. You never have to stress about finding good tenants. It's basically the dream scenario, right?
And that right there is their whole pitch. According to Pineapple Pads, or TPP as they call themselves, they aren't just making things a little bit better. Nope, they claim they have the definitive fix for all the hassles of owning property. So let's dig in and see exactly how they say they pull this off.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the big one for any property owner, the money. How do you take this really expensive thing, this empty building, and turn it into something that actually makes you money?
You know, this is the #1 fear, isn't it? You've got this huge investment, a house or an apartment, and it's just sitting there, silent. It's costing you money every single day in taxes and maintenance, but it's bringing in absolutely nothing. It's a total financial drain.
Pineapple Pads' answer to this is, well, pretty confident. They don't just plan to stick a tenant in there and call it a day. Their goal is to turn your property into a high-performing asset. But what's interesting is their idea of high-performing isn't just about making sure someone's living there.
Because, look, even if you have a great long-term renter, are you really getting the most bang for your buck? A lot of the time, traditional renting means you're settling for a fixed and, let's be honest, sometimes pretty low monthly income. So how does TPP solve the problem of not just being empty, but of under-earning?
So this slide really breaks down their secret sauce. Over on the left, you've got the old way, long-term renting. It's stable, sure, but it usually puts a hard ceiling on how much you can make. But on the right, you see the TPP way, short-term stays. This lets them use dynamic pricing, which means there's potential for way higher income. Plus, you avoid all the risks of being locked in with one tenant because the property is professionally cleaned and checked out after every single guest.
And it all boils down to this one simple equation. That's their whole value proposition. By switching from those long, drawn-out leases to quick, short-term stays, they're promising not just a better financial return, but a whole lot less stress to go along with it.
Okay, so the money part sounds pretty cool, but what about the other side of the coin? What about the sheer hassle, the time, and just the emotional energy it takes to be a landlord?
And let's be real, this is a huge one for so many people. We've all heard the horror stories, right? Tenants who trash the place, who never pay on time, who just create constant conflict. It's enough to make you never want to rent out a property in the first place.
So what's TPP's response to all that potential drama? Basically, they say it's a non-issue for them. See, by managing short-term guests instead of long-term tenants, they completely sidestep all the usual problems. There are no long leases to break and way fewer chances for arguments to pop up. The whole relationship is just different.
All right, maybe you're not scared of the drama, you just literally do not have the hours in your day to deal with it. I mean, managing bookings, coordinating cleanings, talking to guests, scheduling repairs, it's a full-time job.
And their solution is as simple as it is comprehensive. This isn't some partnership where you split the work. They're telling you they will handle 100% of the logistics. From the very first inquiry a guest makes all the way through checkout and cleaning, they've got it covered. And then, of course, there's the final boss of property headaches, maintenance. That leaky roof that decides to spring at 2 a.m. The AC that dies on the absolute hottest day of the year. You know, those expensive, out-of-the-blue problems that always seem to hit at the worst possible time.
Now this really gets to the core of their zero-drama promise. They're not just a reactive service that fixes things when they break, they have to be proactive. Because the property has to be in perfect shape for every new guest, they have a built-in reason to do constant upkeep, catching those small issues before they blow up into huge, expensive nightmares.
So when you take their financial strategy and you combine it with this total hands-off management solution, what are you actually left with? Well, this is what TPP is pitching as the holy grail for any property owner. They lay it out as this simple 3-step journey. You start with all the problems we've been talking about. Then, step 2, you basically hand over the keys to them. And the end result they promise, step 3, is that your property becomes a source of truly passive income. The money just shows up without you having to be involved in any of the day-to-day grind. And really, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
This is the ultimate promise. It's not just about making money, it's about the freedom you get from knowing your investment is being handled by pros so you can focus on, well, anything else.
A nice, clean, simple way to end their pitch. They've laid out the problems, they presented their solutions, and now they're just welcoming you into this totally new way of thinking about owning a property.
So, that leaves us with one big question to chew on. By mixing the high earning potential of short-term rentals with a completely hands-off service, Pineapple Pads is painting a very, very attractive picture. But is this a model that can really work for everyone, everywhere? Especially when you think about things like local regulations or the market getting crowded. It's definitely an interesting idea for the future of property management, that's for sure.